Okay, so today will be the final day of hoarding gold for the 10,000 draft that I want to do. The only concern I have is that when I've done drafts before, maybe not the 10K one, because that one I just lost pretty badly, but you almost have to rush through it because if you don't do it again for another week, right? Like let's say I started and I go like 2 and 3 or something, or not 2 and 3, like I go 3 and 2, and then I want to continue it the next time. Sometimes it'll just reset and they won't give you any refund for it, seemingly in the long run. So will be guaranteed to get 10K, but I might even just save it and try to do a longer session next time, which I can't seem to ever really do because Monday's just kind of one of those days. So I kind of do it like that on purpose. Ironically, I'm sort of playing this game and PvZ Heroes kind of the same way, like very casual experience, just free to play, just trying different things out, not really trying to ladder or do anything particular with it in the context of what is also a first playthrough, but not even really taking people's advice too much or whatever. You could obviously just look stuff up. That's the whole irony of like backseat gaming and stuff is like, if you really wanted to know, you could easily just find out online. Like, oh, that's still there. I thought it said leaving soon the last time. I don't know how soon is soon. But no, basically, it's just a little bit different with this game compared to that because that has like what, a couple hundred cards. This has like a couple thousand cards, like over 10K, and I don't know to what extent it's exhaustive as far as all the cards in the history of the game. But I'm not a big fan of these crossovers feeling kind of contrived and borrowing stuff from other universes, but I guess it's fine. Or it could just be that I'm giving it a lot of credit for like, wow, all these cool different minions and cards and ideas, but a lot of them might just be stolen, like it's from some game that I'm not even too familiar with, Baldur's Gate or some other weird thing. So just the way they make the art look on these doesn't make you think of Gandalf or whatever. Like they're somehow, I said that before too, like they're skirting the fact that, oh, it's not really from Lord of the Rings. Like they're trying to make it seem, I don't know, like borrow from it without directly referencing it, but they are directly referencing it too. So I really don't get it. So let's just try to do some of the daily quests. Green land, I guess that almost decides for me. And so next time will definitely be a draft, although I've said that before, but then if I only have an hour to do it, I just don't know how. Does it say like when they end? It might say it once you go in there. Like pretend we're doing this one. Okay, 10K. When does this draft end? Like if I don't play for a week, will it just go away? It doesn't really say that. 1,500 gems, which I mean, I'd obviously want to save that for regardless of outcome. But then again, like for other things that you can only get with gems, there doesn't seem to be any way to like convert just gold to gems. If you want, it will. The best way to do it would be to buy into one of those runs and then do really well in there. What is that? Just jump in, one jump in token. What is this? Ready to start playing Lord of the Rings Middle-earth? You can explore different strategies while playing, collecting. Yeah, see, like this doesn't make me think of Gollum. That's like a weird fan version of it. When you join the event, you will get like 2 different half decks from a variety of themes. They'll be combined and have a deck ready to go. Play as much as you want here, or use the cards to build other decks. Or what was sort of the sad commentary moment, speaking of PvZ Heroes, is the fact that imagine enjoying that. Not that it's even bad or anything, but imagine enjoying a Plants vs. Zombies card game more than, like, let's say Master Duel, Yu-Gi-Oh! For one of the most storied card game franchises ever, almost, $1 billion worth collectively, they've been around for so long, such a good reputation, all this kind of stuff. But because they force you into the modern format, which means either you're going to be playing as or at least against Synchro and all the modern power creep bullshit mechanics, if you just don't want to do that, you really can't play the game because there's no other mode. Or they'll occasionally give you like a weekly format that's a little bit different, but why not let you do some of the old school stuff? So because of that, I find myself actually enjoying a mobile only spin-off kind of thing that doesn't feel like it was their main focal point of the series more in PvZ Hero somehow, or something like that. Maybe Marvel Snap I would like more than it too, than actually a AAA primary focused card game that has such a established history. So that's what sometimes they do with these games. If you want to play an older format, you have to go and like play Dueling Book or some other fan-made thing, which you shouldn't have to do. It reminds me kind of private servers, like for MMOs. Like, you already have the game, you have the rights, people are paying you subscription fees for it and all this kind of stuff, but yet you make them have to go somewhere else, which you shouldn't do, and you're not allowed to do. But the point is that they shouldn't even feel that need. Like, they fight you so hard on that. Like, you think you do, but you don't. They'll try to argue against it, and oh, you don't really want the old stuff, but like, you're paying for it either way. So, you know, like, I'm sub to WoW for the last whatever year plus, you know, long period of time. I haven't played retail WoW at all. I just am doing it for my classic series or whatever. You'll have people sub to the game for the rest of their lives just to be able to play the older expansions with whatever time they have. When you join the event, you will get to like 2 different half decks. I mean, considering that I have this, I don't know how many of these I have or where it keeps track. Oh, here. 9 jump-in tokens. I don't know what these are. I feel like they're not really that interesting, but I'll definitely pick green. Why does it take you, like, when you go into here, then it takes you to a whole set of these? Normally, they're each, like, this would be one, this would be one. Why does it separate like that? I guess just to show you everything to do with it. Traditional draft. I don't know which one I would even want to do, and it'll probably be different by then anyway. Maybe I should do this one just for the heck of it, since I have 9 of those. It just won't even be a draft, though. Brothers War is kind of like the last one. Why would you even do this one now? But I do like how many different modes it gives you to choose from here. Like, oh no, it'll split the community, but I've never gotten my ass beat as hard, aside from a low-rated chess, am I right, than playing in the historic event. Like, it's pointless to buy into this because you'll never win a game ever. You could have the best deck in human history. You won't win a single game ever. Like, sure, I've had a generally bad drafting record and stuff in this game so far, but which I do take kind of personal because of how successful I was in Hearthstone, especially early on. Like, I might not know the meta and stuff, but just instinctively, the thing is, the drafts in this game are way more complicated, like having to choose between way more cards, not just 3 at a time. Like, Hearthstone is a casual, dumbed-down version of it, if you want to say that, but still, everyone else was playing the same game, so you don't get to discredit, like, oh, I'm just a moron, so I could succeed at that, but everybody else must be an even bigger moron, because then how was I beating them? Averaging 6 wins or whatever was actually kind of good. But here I'm averaging like 2 wins or something, or I don't even know because I haven't done that many of them. They should have some loadout like that in the game. So either I can try that or I can do the daily quest, or I can do them both, I guess, together. Just for some variety, because I just kind of keep playing the same decks over and over. And I have no attachment to these because reward 1 card. Resign at any time if you wish to rejoin. The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places, but there is still much that is fair and true, and though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps greater. Sauron's Foul Insight. I definitely don't like blue, or I kind of have to pick featured card. When March of the Black Gate enters the battlefield, whenever an army you control attacks, amass Oryx 1. Foul Ugluck of the White Hand, legendary creature. I tend to not really like hybrid stuff, but it's such a big, important feature of this game that it's kind of silly to say that. Like, it's such a good element that not only can you combine 2 things, but you can combine all 5 or just do whatever you want, right? Like, I can't think of too many games that have that much synergy between them, or at least potential to use them. Foul, whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter. If that creature goblin or orc, put 2 instead. Like, that seems like a good condition to go for, but they'll just use removal on it anyway. Amass Horde, fire. Yeah, you should do like those 2, but then that won't complete my daily quest. But I hardly even need to do it, right? Because, well, I should just do it anyway, though. When Fires of Mount Doom enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Destroy all equipment attached, which would include potentially the ring. Exile top card. You may play that card this turn. I mean, just because it seems thematically consistent, of course. But I don't know what's actually in those besides those 2 cards. Let's just let it be a surprise. In order to do the daily quest, though, black or green, black or green. Oh, maybe I will still be able to do it. Quick draft, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. Now, what is this one? This one is 5,000, so that's what I would normally do. Yeah, see, this is the bot draft. This is what you need to carry a clown like me. Draft against AI with no waiting time and no pick timers. And so there would be no... But there's still a limit of cards. Like, it goes from having too many to choose from to having, like, 1 to choose from, where you're kind of forced to take something that you don't want. Kind of ends... Oh, maybe it says that for the other ones, too. Yeah, and then once you sign up, you're just kind of screwed because they won't let you do it again. It doesn't even say, but sometimes they just go away. I swear. My point was that, what do you call it? If you do the draft, yeah, like the reason why I like to do the 5,000 free regardless of record, you would get 2,500 back. Oh wow, this one's kind of good. High risk, high reward, because all you have to do is win 3 games and you get like a ridiculous amount back. I mean, you're paying a lot in to do it, but that one would at least be more suited to me because I don't have time to get 7 wins probably anyway. Well, I should, but yeah, like I like to do the 5,000 ones because, or like the lower cost ones, because even if you don't get to keep the cards, it's more about trying to do well and get enough to pay and do another one. So if I lose, go 0 and 3, and not that I would ever do that, wink wink, but if I did, it wouldn't feel that bad because you're only losing 5k instead of 10k, so you're at least priming yourself for failure, which is a bad psychological tendency in the first place. But you have those 3, then everything else is just the same. But yeah, for some reason these are super competitive. I mean, I guess this will still count as far as black, but otherwise we can just play random stuff. So I'll save the 10k for next time. It'd be interesting to try that one where you play 3 games regardless of record. So you have a pretty high chance, even if you win like 1 or 2 games. I mean, it'll probably be super competitive, but they kind of all are anyway. Or in fact, the 10k one is really going to kick you in the nads for that because people are going to be metagaming and tryharding. I just kind of do whatever. This will give you just a chance to try some of the cards, but our land structure here doesn't really fit because look how peaceful and fun-loving the background is, though. Just a nice little feast. Target creature gets -2/-2. Kind of sad that Golem game didn't do too well, though, because of the simple fact that it was kind of a good premise that I liked, although a lot of people seem to not like it. I guess this even kind of fits. And the reason why is because it was like more explorative and stuff like that, just sort of atmospheric, and I would probably still even like it, but supposedly it's really bad. But I love the premise of it and the style of it, so if it had done well, then you see a lot more games like that. Now it's gonna hurt the genre, like, oh, just make another action game like Shadow of Mordor, which is fine, I like it, but not every single thing has to be like that. When it dies, amass 1. Haste enlist. When it enlists a non-token creature, you may conjure a duplicate of that creature into the top 5 cards at random. As it attacks, you may tap a non... Okay, let's just do this first. Yeah, see, this is always so fun. This is what I call the Yu-Gi-Oh variant of any card game. Go into something and you don't know what the cards even do, so you're constantly shocked. Like, oh no, what does that card do? Says the king of games, who's supposed to be the best at the game in the world, who's always winning everything and top decking just what he needs to react to what cards he doesn't even know what they do that his opponent's playing. Like, they're constantly asking for the benefit of the audience, but if they're as good, they're the most competitive, best Duel Monsters players in the world, like Joey and Kaiba and whatever, Yugi and stuff, but they don't even know what half the cards do. Like, everything's just a mystery to them. It's such a stupid trope of the show. Like, why would... That's like going to a Magic tournament and be like, what does that card do? They might be doing some super complex interaction, but can't be blocked by creature except by 3 or more creatures. Oh yeah, we just lost to that one last time in some other mode. Flying. When it enters a mass Oryx 2, Defender... Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins or orcs, create a 2/1 construct. Haste and enlist. Okay, enlist a non-token creature, you may conjure a duplicate. I think I don't mind this, actually. Just because flying can be such a troll mechanic to do, period. What is going to, whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins, create a 2/1 with flying named Ballistic Boulder that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. I do kind of like the theme behind this deck. This music is pretty sick. Yeah, why don't they just have a proper Lord of the Rings card game that actually kind of makes me want to play that? Do it within this game. I think I looked that up the other time too. Lord of the Rings online card game. Lord of the Rings adventure card game, but this feels more like a single player type of thing. It's just a card game of literally everything these days. They made Marvel Snap. Now I saw they're making some kind of DC Heroes type thing that's gonna, you know, try to play off of that. Let him hit with the double strike, but that should be fine. But it's not even first strike, so it shouldn't have even mattered. Okay, fine. I got so confused by how first strike worked at the beginning. This I still can't do, obviously. Defender could be okay. I can start blocking those 1/1s. And now we can obviously attack with this. So that won't actually give me the benefit from that. When it dies, amass orcs. I mean, you probably shouldn't hang on to this for as long as I've done. I haven't played actually too many games in the Lord of the Rings series. Like I played Lord of the Rings Online just in that one episode and died to unfair stuff, like in my first playthrough permadeath. And then there's some old RTS game of it that people really like from the mid 2000s. That almost seems like the right genre for it. Then obviously Shadow of Mordor is good, but it almost doesn't feel like, you know, you could do that. He'll still hit me for 2. He might buff it or something to try to save it. He's completely out of cards in his hand, so if I can just survive a little bit. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten any land in a while, so... Our creature gets +1/+0 first strike. Oh, is he using like basically the same thing as me? No, he's using white and red instead of black and red. Did they have a Mouth of Sauron card? Because that was one of my favorite. Just the way they portray it in the movie is so good. Even though it was like a deleted scene, I guess. Case when it enters, create a 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin. Or you could do like this plus this. +1/+0 first strike. Also gains haste. I mean, you can do that kind of as a counter on their turn. Attack, enlist. I actually forget what that... Enlist what, though? You may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. Add this power to the creatures. I actually don't even really want to do that. Attack, attack, attack. You can just do whatever you want, and then we'll summon a whole bunch more stuff. That'll be flying. I'll save the instant thing for now. You can't even block the 1/1, so I don't even really need to do it. We might actually have a chance, but the problem is that, you know, his hand is so empty, but now he might still be able to finish me off. I need 2 more land for that. What other kind of... Yeah, speaking of hoarding gold, that's literally me right now. What was that other one that I played where you had to do... I did like some kind of little spider mini draft thing that didn't have much of a buy-in. Just don't have haste, because you'll hit me for like maybe 4 at most here. Or even this I can block, or even this I can buff it. The goblin or orc, which it doesn't really matter. 1 damage to... Oh, come on. Not like this. You still won't be able to kill me even. And I'll be able to kill that. So we kind of just got too low, and I doubt this is going to have any real healing in it. That effect alone is just going to kill me. Discard a card, draw a card, goblin token. Can be blocked, but that's not even going to do anything. You may as well just go for it. It's not going to matter. He's got too much stuff out there, so this seems at least like a decent, fair matchup. He doesn't have to do anything at all. He wouldn't even have to hit you. That's the problem. He could just get blocked with everything and still win because of this. Which this has nothing to do with the expansion. This is a card that I've seen countless times before. Like, most of the stuff has nothing to do with that. Yeah, 2 left. I probably misplayed something that could have been the difference. Not even like this format has any stakes to it. I'm basically just trying to do daily quests, and I guess we get like 1 random card from this. Oh, look, they copied Hearthstone with how you can interact with the background, even though, yeah, I feel like most of these you actually can't interact with, or maybe I never really try to. Or yeah, like even this one just kind of deceives you with that one spot. Pay $4.99 for a fully interactable whatever. Keep playing till the event ends. That feels kind of like unfair, though. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. 30 black or green. Yeah, I barely even made any progress in that. I guess we could keep doing it just for the sake of it, or I could try all kinds of other ones. So those things don't really seem very good value, the jump in tokens, because it's nothing special. Like, it'll just be the same thing. You can just play it as much as you want. There's no big reward. I kind of forgot they even existed. Look at phase. It's a good way to just try the stuff, though, before you get totally destroyed in a draft. I don't know why I'm even using that guy. Make them think I'm degenerate using white like everybody always does. So some of these cards are just normal stuff that you wouldn't have anyway. Like, not everything is from the expansion. This is that one Jaya chick or whatever from okay, we could do this. What does it do? When it enters the battlefield, scry 1 for 3. Okay, it's still fine. 1 mana, 1/1. Top of your library. I guess I don't really need that much of just fire. I wouldn't mind another land, but yeah, I like how he looks all perched on that chair like that. Almost seems like it's not entirely meant to be like that, but yeah, pretend like it's a guillotine instead because he's playing me, so his fate is already sealed. 3 damage to any target. 1/1 is kind of useless. So this does for 3. Return it from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. That is surprising, actually, that they never seem to have had a proper Lord of the Rings card game that I can find. Every time I get curious, just thinking about this expansion, that seems like a sad fate to be reduced to a single expansion or a couple expansions just for okay, that maybe doesn't even seem worth it, but whatever. We have the mana to burn. Okay, that was totally not worth it at all. The Swamp Thing would make it so that you can do this. Destroy creature, ring tempts you. Sauron getting tempted by his own ring. How ironic. That's not how it's supposed to work. He's just tempted for the pure power that it gives him, not because it's actually the fixation that everybody else has on it. But it almost treats it like it has a will of its own, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. Because if it didn't, then you know, like Gollum and others wouldn't want to just keep it for themselves. They would want to bring it back to Sauron, but nobody ever does that. So it's sort of an incidental effect. It just has like that hypnotic quality that everybody wants it, not that it actually is by Sauron's design. But I guess it's still a defense mechanism. Like, nobody would ever destroy it because they want to keep it to themselves. Each opponent your creatures, each creature your opponents control, doesn't really matter. And this you could try to put some pressure on. 2/1. You can block these pretty efficiently though. You can block it with the 2/4 and the 1/1, or just that period. I wonder how good a deck like this would be if you're actually playing it on the ladder. Would you be able to get to platinum or something with it? Probably farther than I could get, at least with the random hodgepodge stuff I normally use, because at least it has some sort of theme and rhyme and reason to it, in addition to a lot of the newer power creep type cards. I could do that as well. That's not really worth it at all. Beginning of an end step, if creature die, draw a card. When the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than him, create a 1/1. Yeah, the whole ring bearer element is kind of an annoying, contrived, insular mechanic too that I'm not a huge fan of. It just sort of happens. It's like the day-night cycle almost. But exile this unless you pay 2 life. I mean, you may as well just exile it because it was useless anyway. Destroy creature. Deal 1 damage to each creature. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you may as well just do that because that does seem to be sort of his ace card right now. Creature to be a ring bearer. I forget what it even does. Is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. I mean, it'd be pointless to do, or by greater power, so I can't even do it. This you could easily block, which that's arguably not even worth it. Get that 2/1 with flying. You kind of don't want him to have these dinky 1/1s. This will be like that one invisible stalker guy who can just, you know, take them 100 to 0 if it stays around long enough, and it just can't be blocked the whole game. And it's hexproof. Sacrifice another creature, draw a card. Okay. Deal 1 to everything, and then you can just keep attacking him with this, assuming that's worth it. Menace whenever Sauron. Oh, I didn't even notice that's him. Like, it's such a messy picture, you can't even hardly appreciate it. Whenever Sauron, the Necromancer, attacks, yeah, remember that time they portrayed him at the beginning of the first movie as like not as a Necromancer, but as like a warrior, where he's got this big mace and he's just whacking everybody. Like, I don't know, that I'm pretty positive that's never portrayed in the books that he does something like that. Exile target creature from your graveyard. Create, I don't even think they gave a proper description of exactly how he looked. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that. Okay, let's just do it anyway. That I still can't do. You should just automatically win if he's your ring bearer, because that's the whole point. He just becomes invincible. Just don't cut off his little finger. Fuck. Legendary can't be blocked. Creatures of greater power. But how much good is that really going to do me? Or now he's letting me have that very dangerous capability. 4/5. One, create a treasure token to mass orcs 2. This deals 1 to everything, which isn't really that worthwhile. This you should still be able to do. We at least have plenty of means to block with, but he's not really letting me get away with the ring bearer being too valuable. This is at least like a new icon that I don't think I've seen before. Sacrifice this artifact to add 1 mana of any color. Or those could be like cosmetics that you buy too. Whatever a treasure token is, you know, you get to get your own skin for it, or like a blood token or something else. Because there's so many different cards that generate them. Or like that's one I don't think I've even used, a food token. Some kind of a troll deck that involves whatever. Somebody was using that against me. Just keep generating food and using this weird boar or something. I don't think I can really do too much about this. I'll let him have it for now. I kind of just need a card that's going to destroy it. Those two don't bother me too much. I guess I'll just do this to destroy those two, and it'll be fine, but then you'll end up amassing orcs anyway, so it doesn't matter. Even if he trades in... What happens if it dies? Like, I don't even know. Or wait, why didn't he even seem to attempt to block? He couldn't block with the 2/1, but he could have blocked with the 1/1. He's probably just gonna win, period. I'm surprised. When the Golem, the Patient Plotter, what a title, leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you, sacrifice a creature, return it from graveyard to hand, activate only as a sorcery. Greg, like, does he really have dominion over that name? Like, there's only one Greg? Or they put those stupid numbers at the end of your name just to make it so that it's unique, even if you don't always see it. I always hate when games do that. Like, what is this, a Discord server? You shouldn't need to do it like that. You want it to feel like your name is truly unique, and I guess Albion Online had that issue of just... There is like only one server really, I guess, so every name in existence was taken. That's got to be one of the biggest troll moments I've ever experienced. All these in-character RP names that nobody's ever used in the history of humanity that I always used to use, none of them were available in Albion Online. Like, who are these people who are taking my name? I'm not some famous streamer that they're trying to like copy the names or anything like that. Okay. How did I do so little the last game? I guess I just lost so quickly. Like, all I'm trying to do is farm up for whatever, play 20 black cards and 25 lands and stuff. So for the first time ever, pretty much, I'll have more than 10k, and I'll just be very stingy about it. But by which I mean I'll blow it next time and probably not even finish the draft. I almost attempted to do the shorter one, but That'll be like even more competitive, or at least as long as you get to keep the cards, you don't feel so bad about it. Yeah, I don't really see much of the value in this mode, especially if you pay in with one ticket and then there's nothing else to do. You just win the one game and that's it. I should try to win at least one in this, though. Imagine if I did the daily quest actually every day. Then it might actually give me a certain meaningful amount. Recently played, try it again. All right, this will be last try. We get 3 tries. Otherwise, we have to delete our account, make it a permanent challenge. Faithless is he that says farewell when the road darkens. Yeah, that quote, actually, not all who wander are lost. That's Tolkien, right? Is very attributable to my whole gaming experience. Like, just because I seem stuck or using like subpar decks or whatever, like doing suboptimal stuff, it's like, oh, did you know you can do this or that? It's like, sure, but maybe I don't want to, right? There's sometimes a deliberate nature to it where, you just want to do it for something other than just the mere result or outcome of it. Even for somebody who believes in meritocracy so much, like, you should always be trying to win and you should always be trying to get better. You play to win the game, like Herm Edwards says, but the fact of the matter is, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. When it dies, the damage equal to its power. The fact of the matter is that, you have this sense of, you just want to enjoy what you're doing and you want to try different things, like try interesting, fun deck ideas. Like I always do that in Hearthstone. It won't be a good deck and I'll get destroyed at silver rank 10 or whatever, but it'll be just something interesting or unique. I did that for so many years. I just didn't really care, because what are you trying to prove? Or at least not all the time. No, I can't do that. Try to win just at least one of these games though. Okay, this is always good. Just try to whittle you down with the power of the flying. Yeah, that is actually a great quote. I could use it as my channel banner if it wasn't plagiarism. Like, just the idea of, you want to be stuck. You want to try to figure things out for yourself. You want to do a blind first playthrough. You want to do a free-to-play, casual, just random hodgepodge, no net deck, no metagaming kind of experience, just because when it enters the battlefield of mass orcs, fine. You want all those things because that's half the fun, right? Like, knowing is half the battle. That's always just my philosophy, at least. Because, yeah, imagine if you played single-player games the way that people play multiplayer games. It's like, oh yeah, just look up the best strategy on how you do everything, but then it'd be super easy and super boring, right? There are always those fun moments where you're trying to figure it out, you're puzzle solving, you're experimenting, theory crafting. You might do something suboptimal, but so what? That'll define your character and define your build, and you'll still be able to beat it, because most games aren't that hard. So what's the problem, right? Why does everything have to be optimal all the time? We could do this one. I haven't been able to play that guy yet. -2/-2. I could do kind of to surprise him a little bit. You definitely have a decent mass of these orcs built up. Okay, so next turn I might have to use something as a combo for removal, because if you do this plus this, you will be able to kill that, but it's just kind of expensive. The lightning strike, which has nothing to do with fire, then. That should be like a blue card or some other color. He's using green and blue. Yeah, I guess I never thought about how much that actually suits me. Okay, let's try to get rid of whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield, scry 1. If the second time the ring tempts you, whenever you scry, gets +1/+1 until the end of turn, so I don't care too much. The flying one just kind of bothers me, period. Everything else is at least like trade worthy. It goes the -1/-1. I'm just waiting for the opportunity to actually use that. So now you can use the flying with impunity. These things should all trade in, so you can get away with doing it. In fact, even that would trade in. So I don't really care what he chooses to block it with. I'm not the type who just sits around with a full board and does nothing. Like, I want something to happen from it. But when you can have like an infinite number of tokens and minions on the field, I like how they kind of mask that. Like, oh, it looks like you can only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Also keeping myself in the dark at the beginning of the game, but when I first started playing. But then as you keep putting more, they keep shrinking and making more room. Like, of course, the cards in real life have this expandable feature. They expand and contract to almost any size. Or like you put a piece of paper and write the number of tokens on there because you'll have like 1 million with some of these infinite loop capabilities that you have in this game. We don't have to worry about that. Sometimes I do face tank a little bit too much, but it should be fine. Like, just give me something that can deal with that. It's -2, -2. Enlisted non-token creature. I don't have to worry about that. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we basically just need one more for that. We should be able to do both of these. And so just block with anything that's going to be 3 and up. So at least we get a good trade out of it. But this game does a good job by having that bluff button. That's something that more card games need. Like, they'll know in Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether you have a trap card or not that you could potentially activate at that time. So you can't bluff it. Like in real life, they won't know. Maybe you have a counter trap and you're just choosing not to play it for 50 turns. Whereas in an online space, it'll be like, you know, it'll know because it'll give you like that split-second pause. Do you want to use it or not? So if it doesn't even give you the option, they'll know, oh, he doesn't have anything. Okay, 4/4, he's getting super low. The flying thing alone could be trouble. I just want to play this guy for the sake of it. Would be very cool. That's my ace card, 6 mana. What is this? PvZ Heroes, where I hardly have, although I can't even say that now because I got that epic 8/8 dragon, or 8 mana 6/6 dragon fruit guy, which is awesome. That seems like one of the best cards actually in the game, so that's only my second legendary ever, just from packs alone. See, it makes moments like that more memorable too, because anybody could just craft stuff, or anybody could just, okay, get rid of one of these, you know, go for the best stuff right away. So you want to give value to the rest of the game because every little thing matters. Oh my god. It just won't give it to me though. Enters the battlefield, does 2 damage to target creature opponent controls. I don't know how that would work with the ring. Like, presumably that's the whole point of it, but exile top card. You may play this when you play a card this way. Deals 2 damage to each player, which is probably pretty valuable at this point. Because, okay, so we can do with this. This you'd have to block multiple times over. The other 2 don't really seem to be too valuable. You could still kill the 5/5, but okay. It's a lot of effort to go into it. Or whatever. If I just play it, or do you have to play it right away? Oh no, you may play it this turn only. Damn it. I'm gonna somehow lose. I don't like the whole ordered blocking thing. So like it caused those to survive, and maybe it has something to do with the ring effect too. I don't even know what happened. Just give me 1 more mana. At least that'll be a little bit difficult to deal with. 6 mana, 6/5. Can't be blocked by 3 or more. What is it called when you can't be blocked by only by 2? Menace, right? All these card games have the exact same mechanics, but just different names for them. Although that one's a little bit unique, where it can't. Even the whole blocking system is unique. The fact that you can't choose what to attack, or the fact that you can't attack anything and you can only block reactively. A little bit tricky. He's scared to attack with too many things, but so am I. I guess I'll just never be able to do that. Nice. The problem is you'll spend too much to do it. You'll spend 3, and then I'll have nothing left. Target creature gets -2/-2. It's going to be problematic because it's not going to do anything. Yeah, but Golem's impact is so insane for somebody who's so weak of a creature. And Sauron doesn't seem to care, like, Yeah, there are some weird elements about that. Like if he knows that the ring is with Gollum or whatever, why wouldn't he just send some orcs after it that way? Or maybe he can't find it. He doesn't have that sort of spiritual connection with it. All you would need is some sort of tracking magic on there, or maybe he doesn't care. Like, oh, it's safe in the hands of Gollum because he's never gonna let it go. But then something goes wrong. Bilbo somehow gets his hands on it. Yeah, that could be one of those trick questions. Like, people who don't know anything about Lord of the Rings would say, oh yeah, Gollum's the main villain. He's the final boss of the whole series. Because Sauron doesn't get the same sort of direct treatment. Like, you're not really aware of him. I swear that's actually true, too. They probably... In the books, I did read them when I was younger, but now I can't remember. I don't think they even describe what he looks like one thorough time. So people kind of question that with the movies. Like, how do you even know what he would look like? And how do you even know, like... I don't know, like that he'd be using a mace like in the beginning. That whole thing is totally extrapolated on. There's no such thing that ever happens in the books. Target creature deals damage equal to its power. Wouldn't really matter because it's only one. Unless I get some crazy buff for this, I am actually going to lose. It felt like I probably should have won, and now I finally get this, but it's going to be too late, or maybe I have enough. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. What? Something gets -2/-2. Whatever. Let's just do some random ones. So the point is I could have probably won multiple of these. I don't like the whole ring mechanic. It feels too contrived. That's beyond just a power creep idea. That's just like, let's really make you notice the fact that, wow, this new expansion came out. Can't you tell? The fact that even stuff that has nothing to do with it is getting affected by it. Okay, we get it, dude. Why you gotta waste time? So in 3 tries, if that was a draft, I would have gone 0 and 3. I always get them super low, like that's just my playstyle, and then I won't be able to finish them off. They'll kind of flood the board and have too many things, even if they're weak. It just takes forever to get through it. And of course, I not only don't know the meta like well enough to draft in any capacity, but I also don't know, basically, I don't know the difference in terms of, or no, like that's my preference. Like I'll draft for fun, not for value. Or now you have an extra incentive. I always said that in Hearthstone. Like I would draft for whatever seems more interesting or what'll be a fun run. Oh, it's a cool legendary card and you can just do something fun with it, even though you don't end up getting it because you have to draft for value and curve and all these kind of things, right? You won't get the chance to do it, the cool play. But here you have another incentive too. Not only are you drafting for fun, but you're drafting for your collection, because if you're doing a 10k draft, you get to keep the cards. So therefore, it doesn't matter if your deck's bad. You just want to draft the cards that you want to keep, regardless of what a hodgepodge mess of a draft it actually is. So that gives you a very negative incentive. This guy's garbage because I have so many mana generating minions that Convoke doesn't have much value to it. I can't believe they changed this from a mythic to a gold or whatever, so it made me feel like, rub it in my face that I wasted a mythic wild card on it. I even questioned it, I think, when I first made it. Or no, I don't know what I said. Now that'll give you the trigger for it. I've used this deck probably way too much, but it's not exactly the same deck all the time. Sort of like a low-cost ramp style. I can't believe how much I actually like green in this game, though. Like, it fits my style so well. Or at least certain elements of it. Even the ramp thing in Hearthstone, I don't find that fun. Like, for druids. Like, sure, you want to get a lot of mana and some stuff, but it wasn't always so satisfying. This game has, like, a ton of like very clear value propositions, like 5 mana 10/10 for the Gigantosaurus. That's just how you know, like, wow, that's what I want. It doesn't matter if you're using removal on it or whatever, it's just satisfying. Summon something big and force your opponent to deal with it. Kaiba Jr. over here, like how he would, that was his whole strategy in the beginning of Duel Monsters. Like, Duel Monsters is about power, not about your friends or your heart or your spirit or your strategy or whatever. Just summon a Blue Eyes, and no, there were no monsters in the game stronger, so you just had to deal with it. Other zombies get +1/+1, have death touch, but these actually don't have death touch or anything. You can summon Galta, so any sort of board clear or whatever. Yeah, I'm using such a high caliber deck. The bronze players can't hang with me. Yeah, it's a lot of disadvantages, not to make excuses for my draft performance, because I've even said it should be far better. But no, it's like, I don't know the meta, I don't know the game in general as well as I should. I have all those other incentives to draft certain ways. Drafting is much more difficult and complicated, but again, that's not really an excuse, it's just an observation, because it's maybe not what I was expecting, or the bot drafts with the AI are a little bit more friendly for that purpose, but it is sort of overwhelming to get used to, I guess. And I haven't really done that many, to be fair, but they're certainly very costly, so you kind of feel the presence of it. It feels like I've done more. So you always rely for blue. I don't have any blue land in here because there's no such thing as a water land, the ultimate oxymoron. So in fact, I rely on like this chick and the Carotid and stuff, the mana generating minions, to give you a mana of any color, thereby blue. That's the only way I can do it. The way that a lot of costs work is they only require like 1 or 2 of a different color anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, right? Like, it'll be a case where, you know, it'll cost 10, but it'll only cost like 8 of anything and then 2 of a different color. So it's very easy to meet those conditions where you almost don't even need to worry about having multiple land colors in your deck. You can just have a few things that fill in the spaces like that, or whatever else. Maybe some sort of artifacts that give you, or even certain lands will say give you of any color. You could do this. I don't see why not. I'm surprised a little bit why he's not attacking though with everything. Like, I didn't have too many great things to block with for a while. But this is the problem. If they keep flooding the board, it's going to be very difficult to do anything. Haste, but he still chooses not to attack. This guy doesn't have the right spirit for the deck that he's using. He has to go balls to the wall, go face. Even when the mid-range / control style deck has to go face before you do, when you're using goblins and 1/1s and stuff, you've got it all backwards. I'm surprised this game isn't actually more popular on Twitch and such. Not that that's the ultimate measure of a game or something, but still, like, it's newer than Hearthstone and other games, but you know, it has the whole, and not only that, but it has the whole following of a hardcore fan-based community. Meanwhile, Arena doesn't even have its own category. There's just Magic the Gathering, period. And therefore, you know, that could include real-life physical card tournaments. It could include any other version of Magic out there. There's only one category for it. So there's all these single-player Magic games over the years. So all of those combined still don't have a very meaningful amount, surprisingly. So those 2/2s do scare me a little bit. There's 5 of them. Carotid I don't even really need. Why do you even have to resign, though? I'm the one who's more scared of those little dinky tokens. That's one of my biggest causes of loss in this game. Besides the white heal buff nonsense that we see a million times over, we also see the fact that, you know, they summon like way too many things for me to be able to deal with. Yeah, we have that amazing threshold of 10k. So I think I even said last time, oh, I'll do another draft. I'll do a draft next time. So I'll do a draft now next time, but I hopefully will have a little bit more time to try to do it. What sort of ruined my schedule is I'm so enamored with chess now and trying to do that challenge that is kind of wasting so much of my, well, that's not really true either, but like if I do a long stream in the week, it'll be because of that, not because of any other category, which is kind of disingenuous, but it's like it comes and goes. Now, if I get a good threshold, I'll be fine. I gave myself 2 months to just get like basically 100, 200 rating, which is not a big deal. Yeah, this is almost the sort of thing you should do as like a content clout chase clown show of a thing. I'm almost thinking about making a second channel on YouTube just for that purpose. Like, I would just upload with no effort, just here's the VOD of the day, and just I almost should do that because I just stream so much that it almost feels worth it. because I normally try to dress it up and I make a nice thumbnail and I have a complex title and this and that. I should just do that, like for chess or for any other thing. Or maybe I'll turn my... That'll be good. When you're owed favors. I have many names and many allegiances. I'm owed many favors over countless lifetimes. I'll turn my friend's channel into that where he'll just do it. But it won't really make sense. Just like random... Yeah, she has more subscribers than me, but it's just because of random stuff that he posts. Like XQC's dealer has an awkward moment where it looks like he has constipation or something, and then he puts my thing in the comments like, "Oh, follow me," and I hate stuff like that. And I never asked him to do that, but then it's like I'm like carried by a constipated dealer. That's what it took for me to reach affiliate this time. I don't know how much it helped, but I'm sure it didn't hurt. A video with like 600K plus views, just to have that reference. Gala greeters, I can be annoying with the same healing buff shenanigans. But a +1/+1 counter, okay. But that guy's even green, so I guess I can't complain about it. So I could rebuke that. 1 mana 3/3, like always up my alley. And you might think, oh, that means I'm like an aggro type player, but it's actually very different. It's not that I'm aggro, it's that I'm mid-range in the sense that I don't like those really long control games necessarily. It depends on the deck, and sometimes I do. And I don't like the really short ones where you go full aggro. But I like the ones where you dominate the board in the middle game, and then you kind of run away with it because your board is too strong for theirs. So you're summoning big, strong stuff, but trying to not do it just to go face and finish them off quickly. You expect that they have some resistance for it and stuff like that. You want to fight it out on the board, but just show that, oh, I have better stat at things than you do. Which with green you typically should. This thing almost just shouldn't be in there because I was going with a whole hexproof theme. But obviously Convoke goes against my whole mana generating minions. Like, would you rather tap these for mana or just get the mana anyway? It's the same thing. So you get the dragon, like for green. I don't always have dragons, but when I do, it's the best one in the game. They can buff you +20/+20, which I found so shocking and hilarious the first time it happened. Not that I got it like the first time I ever played it, but... Hogla, the Titan Ape. When it enters the battlefield, it's a 6 mana 7/6. Immediately fight something, you can buff that up and then bring it right back. That's just like the content fiend clout chasing little thing went off in my head because I'm always against doing stuff like that, but now I realize I probably should have done it over the years. I've done so many different weird things, like whether they're good or not, I'm not even saying, but like, oh, movie reviews, film critic, debate format, all these weird things. Permadeaths, hard modes, obviously gameplay stuff. Card games, chess, variants, just like, you know, I kind of like that distinction that like people would know me for what I do more so than who I am, right? It's not like one of those face cam cult of personality basis. It'll be more like, you know, oh, they'll know, oh, he's the guy who did the debate format, or I remember that, or I remember the one line you said, or something. That's just the right philosophy. It's like, that's how it should be. And to at a higher level, like Hikaru, like, oh, you know Hikaru because he's a super grandmaster, not because he streams on Twitch. But sadly, it'll be the opposite. People didn't know who he was. No one cared who he was until he put on the webcam, as I said in that one sort of like line mimicking Bane. Yeah, my one friend does actually do that, where he'll put a lot of these comments I say offhand on like random YouTube videos and stuff where it somehow feels appropriate or something. So at least that's good because, yeah, that'll help to keep it alive. It's just like I'm not the type to really... There's like a certain narcissism with the whole... like it's even worse on TikTok and this and that. But just in general, like who really cares about anything, right? Like who somebody is or what they are or what their personal lives are. But somehow it turns into that once people get familiar with somebody. Any of the big streamers, they're doing IRL stuff. They're just walking down the street. They're going shopping. Like I never understood that, but I guess as long as people reward it, people will keep doing it. So at least the standard should be something based in meritocracy, like, oh, you're a really good, whatever you do, you're really good at it. Could be drawing art, it could be playing a game, whatever, it doesn't matter. But that should be the basis, so it doesn't matter on an anecdotal level, like, oh, you know, that should be the structure in which you succeed or fail. It doesn't matter, like, oh, then you're saying, like, you're saying it because you're good at something or you're not good at something, whatever, to justify, but you would be judged just as harshly within the same criteria. So if I say like, oh, Alex Botez sub 2000 FIDE, right, whatever meme I sort of helped create, the fact of the matter is that, you know, I would be judged the same way, at least if I was known for being a chess player or played chess all every day and that was my whole identity. It's just a shame that you would be known for that but not make a priority to try to get better using the great opportunity and privilege you have of millions of dollars that you made from it and obviously that you earn. But Wilds of Eldraine, so is that going to be like a mini set within the Lord of the Rings thing too? Rip off of it even more?